Okay. Boom, da, boom, banana, nina. Boom, da, boom, banana, nina. What did you say before that, Tommy? Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I've been watching this woman. She's like a trained opera singer. And she's like doing reactions to like metal singers and singers in general. And one of them is her first reaction is to Jonathan Davis and with in that song, and because he doesn't really necessarily like sing, he like kind of like rap sings ish,
Okay.
Like what do you remember the opening line to the actual song? Something takes the part of me.
I was like, honestly, I can't remember what song it is.
You and I, yeah. So like, and she's also like, she knows like music. So like, even like listening to like how Korn's like composition, and she's like, this is really weird. Everything's kind of like disjointed, but comes together in a very interesting way. But he gets to the scatting part, and her face, she usually goes, huh? It's really funny. But also she's, I'm really excited for this video coming out tomorrow. This like really like crazy good like death metal singer that can do like the pig squeal, like all that stuff. Like it's insane how well he does it.
Yeah,
they have like putting needles in his throat and cameras down his throat and like recording the anatomy to kind of like, it's all for like science actually, like the anatomy of a voice and how it can like distort itself like that. He can do like that weird what is it, Tibetan monk, like
throat singing
shit. So yeah, I'm excited for this shit.
I was just watching something. There was throat singing in it, and then I started like that, and I was like, "Look, Mom, no lessons." And I realized it was probably really nothing.
What I was just doing. Oh, it really
untrained, and then was really patting myself on the back for it.
There's actually, I had a little bit of one of my acting teachers like learn how to do it, and like for like a vocal exercise kind of taught us a little bit of the beginnings of it.
What is that band? The Who?
The Who?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Mongolian.
Oh,
heavy metal throat singing.
I don't know the name of them, but I know who you're talking about now. When you said the Who, I was like Tommy the Who? What?
No, like, I think I can't remember now. I'm totally thinking. They're cool.
Teenage Wasteland.
That's a cool band. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Magic trick.
Whoa! Where did that hat come from, Tommy?
Who are you? What have you done with Commissioner Gordon?
Oh, God damn it. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, see you guys. Welcome back.
I was made me think of the foot in Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I could see that. Yeah.
It's like athlete's foot or something.
I can't fully remember.
It's a foot fungus, yeah.
But hey, do you want to tell us what it is?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is TJ's Mixtape. I'm Tommy. That's Jacob. We're two friends, and we do movie reviews. And we are back doing kind of a pulp comic-y kind of block.
I think it's 100% pulp comic.
And so we were starting off with... we talk about the history of the movie, who made it, who stars in it, kind of give it a little walkthrough on themes, all that kind of stuff, and then give it a rating. Pretty arbitrary, to be honest, but helps us putting into it. That was dark. So we are doing 1990s Dick Tracy today to start off with.
If you guys aren't familiar with Dick Tracy, it is originally a 1930s comic created by Chester Gould. Yeah. He wrote and drew it from 1931 to 1977, and there are still comics being released for it.
Pretty wild, actually, how long this has been.
It's kind of like in the family of like Archie. I don't know if it's the same universe, but I know like they've had like he's been in a crossover with Archie and all that stuff. But yeah, like the inspiration of Dick Tracy was the FBI or DEA agent excuse me, that was taking down Al Capone.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, this originally was published in like in a Detroit magazine, and Chester Gould worked a lot through in Chicago. So, like, it's really interesting is that the hit, and even like Big Boy, the main bad guy, is based off of Al Capone.
And then the actor played Al Capone.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's full circle right there. It's I don't know. I just like I thought it was like the history to this is really cool. Did you do much more? Did you do much?
Yeah, it was like I kind of read more about Dick Tracy than I did actually the film. Dick
That's
Tracy.
fair.
I just thought it was interesting.
It's a little bit more interesting.
Well, I just didn't realize how long of a running
I didn't know that it was still going.
thing this was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that don't know, basically, Dick Tracy is right off the pages of a comic. We follow Detective Dick Tracy and his war on crime, basically. So that's the whole thing. It's a serial of him. The comic, the character is just a crime fighter.
In a gothic, Chicago-esque type world.
Yeah, and because it went on so long, too, the comic itself had a lot of real-life representation of things that were happening from decade to decade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just the beginning of it being inspired by taking down Al Capone, you know?
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, Chester, you said Chester Gould. Is
that all you?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to bring up because
Yeah.
I feel like we could go down the rabbit hole.
Well, and
of
it's
Dick
like
Tracy.
it's pulp comics, and it's a very specific style.
Yeah.
And like aesthetic with like between color or lack of color, but even like Chester Gould's like drawings, like his illustrations are very like sharp edges or very round. It's like very exaggerated, but very like honestly, I see a lot of inspiration from Chester Gould to what the WB's animated DC became. With Batman and then Superman and just like that world.
Oh, yeah. Like the big chests and
Yeah.
Big jawed.
Just like enough of an exaggeration of certain like, you know, anatomies to make it feel like an old school, like 1920s, 1930s comic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dick Tracy, that's where, and I don't know if it all started with that. It would be cool to do like a quick dick dive.
A dick dive.
All right. We're going to do a dick dive. Everybody, you ready for this? Open your mouths.
You ever heard the term quit while you're ahead?
Nope. Deep dive into some history of pulp comics would be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, we've been... I
think that was kind of what we originally wanted. Maybe we'll restructure something on instead of doing another movie. Maybe we do a deep dive on that. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how this goes.
Well, really quick, since we are just talking about the movie, what was your initial reaction with it? How did you feel about it?
Nothing. I didn't feel anything towards it.
I know you. You loved the art.
Yeah, I mean. For the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I liked the set pieces and everything, but when it comes to as a whole, this was very forgettable.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I was like, nothing, because even the art too didn't stand out to me enough.
Really? Like the costumes and like all the makeup, like that makeup was fucking dope.
Yeah, but it didn't bring me along enough for as a whole. I mean, I will say the twist at the end, I really didn't see coming.
What was really...
Which I was surprised. Like, what the hell is she doing here? And then, we made it all come back around.
Yeah.
Like, cool, I guess.
I actually kind of was like, as that final scene was unfolding, I was sitting there, I was like, wait a second. I remember who this is.
Yeah, I didn't remember...
Well, you hadn't seen it before. This is your first time seeing it, right?
From what some of it looked really familiar, and I don't know if that was just from
there's such
pop culture.
I think there's it's iconic because no movie has really ever been made like this again in another way. This is also one of the last movies to be made 100% without CGI, without computer.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say there's definitely like stylistic stuff that has moved, like Sin City, has its own style with Sky Captain, blah, blah, blah. But the way that this movie...
We've done a lot of these. Well, not a lot.
Oh, no, we've only done Sky Captain, I want to say.
Spirit. Didn't we do Spirit? Yeah, we did Spirit.
Oh, man.
Not The Shadow, The Spirit.
I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. But that was more Sin City-y. It was humor like this...
Yeah.
Aesthetic Sin City. It was like a weird baby between the two of them.
Yeah.
Because even our character, that very Dick Tracy, that very Boy Scout, the law's a law, the Batman Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Justice doesn't see gender or whatever. That's that kind of shit he says. That's a quote. He says something like that in Batman Brave and the Bold.
Oh, I haven't really watched Batman Brave and the Bold, so... All right.
She's just some stupid thing of like, you wouldn't hit a woman, would you? And he's like, justice doesn't see gender. It's something really stupid.
Pow.
Pow. And then,
right in the kisser.
Right. Move on. So Dick Tracy, the movie was released first June 14th, 1990, and then June 15th, 1990.
You know what's interesting?
The premiere.
I saw that there was another premiere June 13th on IMDb as well. There was like a premiere in Los Angeles and then a premiere somewhere else. I don't know. It was really weird. But only on Wikipedia, it only had the 14th and the 15th. I just
maybe it was like a cast showing and then the premiere
yeah.
and then the release.
Maybe. Yeah.
That would make sense though for the cast showing thing because, director or writers first?
Let's do writers because then we can do...
Okay, so we brought up Chester Gould, who was cartoonist and writer until 1977. And then there's a whole slew of stuff that happened after that.
History to this movie as well. Like...
Oh, and also the interesting thing about Dick, too, is the evolution of him himself as character.
Oh, yeah.
And even his side characters.
Yeah.
Some would die, some would get promoted, some would this, some would that. Like,
some would just really fade away.
Yeah, some would just fade away. It wasn't like a lot of stuff that we're used to now in the comic book world where it's like Batman is Bruce Wayne, henceforth there's always an Alfred,
Yeah.
It's like Dick evolved and his sidekicks evolved.
He evolves with the time, but he stays the same age.
Yeah.
I want an old man Dick Tracy comic now.
Oh, yeah. That'd be kind of cool. I think old gruff. And that's Sin City. Oh,
my God.
Who would he be in Sin City? Marv.
Marv, yeah.
He'd be cute. New conspiracy. Dick Tracy had to go into hiding and had to get the work done to hide his face, and he became a villain, and that's why he looks like that.
Or he could be Bruce Willis's character, actually. I think that's actually closer to Dick Tracy.
I like Marv better.
That's more interesting, but one is more accurate.
I vote Marv. Anyways,
Team Marv or Team...
So, yeah, our character written by Chester Gould, and then our two credited writers for this were Jimmy Cash and Jack Epps Jr., who were kind of a writing duo.
Brought us Top Gun.
Turner
and Hooch. Love that movie.
Anaconda. And then Flintstones.
Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas, baby.
The second one.
Which I have no recollection of.
Scott Baldwin as fucking...
What?
Yeah, well, it was one of the Baldwin... The blonde Baldwin brother. It was Barney.
Flintstones.
Like that. It has a weird, interesting cast. Like everyone's recast the movie. It has none of the original cast of the first Flintstones movie.
Oh, yeah, it's Stephen Baldwin.
Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah. Sorry, what did I say?
Stephen.
Oh. That's so weird looking. It's like the Flintstones but made in a parallel universe,
right? Yeah. It's like the wormhole opened up and that movie just popped out.
Yeah, that's so weird. Because let's be real, the casting for the first one was pretty good.
So good.
Like everyone fit pretty perfectly, Interesting. And anyways, so yes, those are our writers.
Yeah, and so they like had written and rewritten the script for like a decade.
Yeah,
And it was optioned and sold, and then like it went through this like all of these different fucking hands and companies, because it was like following a couple of producers, and then finally Warren Beatty.
Well, Warren Beatty had a concept for it since 1975.
Crazy, dude.
So this has been, and that kind of makes it worse though. You're like, this is a long time coming, and then it came, and then you're like, okay, that happened.
Yeah, and it's like, well, but I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's like it's definitely it just missed. I think I know what the problem with.
Oh, thank you, because I have no idea what that is.
What the problem is?
Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint on. Like, I was just so.
I know I was having such a hard time. I'll be honest with you. I watched this movie. I remember key moments, but there's probably maybe other key moments that isn't there for it. But it was very hard to stay focused through this movie. And I think maybe the ads didn't help as well, because I did watch on YouTube with the ads.
I think that was a factor. Like it. Because it's already like a detective noir kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you're going with this kind of flow that those inherently have.
Yeah.
Especially in this kind of realm where you're talking more of like a comic-y one, where, you know, even Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
There's a certain kind of pace you follow with these kind of things. Yes. And the ads coming in just bring that pace to a screeching halt. And then you have to kind of remember.
For a pacing that's already on a weird tempo.
Yeah, so I think that that's not an option for this. So basically, for those listening, it is free with ads on YouTube. So we're like, oh, let's just watch it that way.
YouTube movies, yeah.
And that was probably not the way to do it.
Yeah. You can also rent it for $3.99.
Yeah, I would have done that going back.
So Warren Beatty, who stars as our
directs
and produces
and is an uncredited writer, which you kind of knew.
Yeah.
Thing, you know?
It's like him and like a longtime partner, Bo Goldman, like rewrote a lot of the dialogue, and they weren't able to get through the WGA onto writers' credits.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say about Warren Beatty? Producer, writer, director. Not writer. Well, okay. Anyway, so Warren Beatty, if you don't know who he is really a renowned actor and filmmaker that came out of the new Hollywood American wave movement with Al Pacino and Dustin Hopper and all of those people and whatnot. Bonnie and Clyde might be one of his most popular movies as an actor. More recently in the 90s, Bulworth.
Bulworth.
Which he was also a director on that. And one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite movies, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, which I watched in a film class. And it's very interesting. It's very much a movie of the 60s. But the way that it like tells it's a movie for film like film critics, I will say, like, or people that like, if you're in film class, if you're gonna probably watch this movie.
Okay.
Yeah. He also is known for this movie called Ishtar, which it comes up every once in a while. He wrote, directed, and produced this one as well, or acted. Maybe not wrote, and it's regarded as one of the worst movies of all time, and also regarded as one of the best movies of all time.
And what is this called?
Ishtar. Famously known for going completely over budget. Also, like a big thing.
And he did what?
He was a director, producer, actor.
I don't see Ishtar on his thing.
That really?
Not as director.
Maybe he didn't. No, I'm pretty sure he directed.
No.
Are you on Wikipedia?
Yeah, Elaine Main.
Oh yeah. He was just an actor and producer, or maybe a writer. But it's still like he's attached to it for producing it. I know that.
So why is it the best and the worst?
I've never seen it, and every time I read about it, it makes me want to watch it.
I want to watch it. Two terrible lounge singers get booked to play a gig in a Moroccan hotel, but somehow become pawns in an international power play between the CIA, the Emir of Ishtar, and the rebels trying to overthrow his regime.
Yeah. Sounds bonkers.
Probably really racist. Probably when it come out.
87.
Yeah, it's Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. Warren Beatty, he has a lot of, that's why there's so many fucking big names in this movie. Dick Tracy.
Yeah, the honorable mentions on this is
absolutely
kind
absurd.
of wild. Well, it's like funny. It was one of those actors too, one of those people that is like, I don't, and it might just be my age. I was like, I know he's really famous, but I don't understand why.
He only has 36 acting credits.
Yeah, and he's really famous.
It's because of what he's done in the industry.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to say quality over quantity, but you know what I mean?
It is kind of that.
It is kind of that.
I mean, because like he was very particular about stuff he would do, and then he like when he was inside, like he would also end up having a lot of like say for like what was happening for these films as well.
Yeah,
because he was just so he had a really interesting film mind, you know. And I mean, he's old as fuck.
Yeah, he's like, how old is he now?
He's got to be like 90 something, I want to say.
Yeah, he
was born in the 30s.
He's 87.
87, yeah.
Well, that's what's funny too, because he was like really he was growing up with the Dick Tracy comics.
Yep.
So it's like it's a fun. Well, because I was also reading that he now has, after a legal battle, he has the rights to Dick Tracy.
That makes sense.
Which is just wild. And I didn't really deep dive into that, but I just thought it was a wild concept because that's like a studio having to go to George Clooney to make a Batman movie. You know what I mean? It's just a wild concept for an actor to that not only depict them, but
well, when he was set on to direct and produce, since he like purchased like the filming rights, at least.
I feel like someone listening to this is actually like, there's actually a lot of actors that own rights to
here, other side. Yeah, just other side.
Other side.
There you go.
What was it?
It was just your hair was sticking out in a weird spot. You're fine.
That just felt good. But yeah, I wonder if there's people that are like, actually, there's a couple actors that own
probably
rights that you don't know about to stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Reynolds owned some rights to Deadpool,
like a share in the company.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry, what were you saying?
Warren Beatty. So like when doing like producing and directing, and this was picked up by Disney, and they were going to release it under the Disney name, but they're like, it's got some adult.
I didn't know that Touchstone
and Madonna's tits to see through that. Did you see through? She was wearing that black thing.
Oh, I didn't think it was see through. I saw her. The turkey's done. Probably shouldn't quote him from movies.
What? Turkey's done?
If you know, you know. I'm not. No.
Are you quoting Liar Liar?
No. Move on.
Are you talking? You could see her nipples.
I couldn't see her. I saw them poking.
Yeah.
The outline of them. I didn't see the.
You could see through that.
No, you could.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had to pause it. I was like, let me nipples right here.
I guess Madonna doesn't do it for me then. I didn't know. Nor do I care. To be totally. But yeah, I didn't.
I would know because it was more of like I was surprised because I knew this was distributed by a Disney name.
It's Touchstone though.
Touchstone Buena Vista, but even still, I was just like, wait, what? Hold on a sec here.
It's so funny to me though, that whole concept that they are like, this is a no-no, so we don't want to outwardly own it to the public. We're going to put it with one of these guys.
Exactly.
So if something happens, it's technically these guys. It's just
this ain't the Disney brand over here.
There's Touchstone. They be touching your hearts, not in the good way. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's funny. I don't know what that was. It worked though. But yeah, I just think that's that thing. It's such a. It's like weird Disney magic, but you're like, no, they're a corporation and they're
evil.
It's sneaky and weird and makes you feel dirty, you know.
All right, so Warren Beatty, we just talked about Madonna.
Oh yeah, going into our stars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Madonna, who's fucking Madonna. I don't know.
She was really good in this, though.
Really? I wholeheartedly disagree.
I think she captured that like the style that is needed for that femme fatale character of the film noir era. It was like as I was watching, it was like I was literally thinking, it's like if this film is like in the late 80s, you take Madonna and you put her into the 40s, she would have been a fan. She would have fucking killed it.
Well, I mean,
but
that's also it's because of that bit of her that had that Monroe-esque sexuality and vibe, you know.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like she fucking killed. She knew the character. She knew the form of this goddamn movie, and she fucking killed it. Like she did a good job with what she was, what it was. She's actually not a really horrible actress as well.
No one was interesting in this movie to me, maybe except
Al Pacino.
Yeah, but even then, it was just because he was yelling. He was doing the entire movie. He was doing his monologue from Devil's Advocate. I want him dead. I want him dead. You know, like, it was pointed out to me that he looked like Waluigi, which I can't get out of my mind. Right. He didn't look like Wario. He looked like Waluigi. Yeah.
Are you saying Waluigi?
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
it's Waluigi.
Waluigi.
Yeah.
He looks like Waluigi.
Yeah. I can see that. That's really funny. He looks like a weird hybrid between Waluigi and Wario.
Oh, I take that back. Actually, the character I loved the most was Mumbles, Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
I thought he was funny. And the fact that he pulls a Kaiser Sose and he's just faking it the whole time was pretty cool.
Of course he's faking it, you know?
It's like... but yeah, so Madonna...
I mean, in Evita, I mean, she is Madonna. If you don't know Madonna, I don't know where the fuck you've been. It's kind of like not knowing who... I almost went biblical and I'm going to stop. I don't want to put her on
Beyonce,
the same... Yeah.
Like, for the...
You don't know who Lady Gaga is?
Yeah. It's like there's certain... So pop
you don't know who
stars,
Elvis Presley is?
There's certain pop stars, especially in the female performer world, that are iconic, and she is definitely a top tier iconic.
I mean, I think she is. She is the queen of pop. Like, like kind of like
yeah. If you don't know who Madonna is, I don't. Where have you been?
She also had an acting career, where she starred in movies like Evita, A League of Their Own, Desperately Seeking to, and we talked about her in 4 Rooms.
Yeah. That was a 13.
All right, moving on. We got Al Pacino,
who plays Big Boy Caprice, who's also iconic, I think. Actor.
Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out which way you were leaning with that.
What do I think of? I think of Devil's Advocate, Godfather,
Dog Day Afternoon.
Irish. He was in that most recent movie, Irishman, which was really good, really slow. Mm-hmm. It's Godfather-esque and it's like pacing and everything.
Heat,
Insomnia.
Oh yeah,
Scent of a Woman, which I want to rewatch because I remember that being very odd.
Yeah.
Because who's the guy in that?
I've never seen that. You're the one that you brought this up a while ago.
Yeah, because I remember being really weird.
He is regarded as, you know, one of the from this time, like, and one of the best actors of his generation.
Should we do honorable mentions real quick?
I think we should do the kid properly.
Oh, okay, yeah. Charlie Korsmo.
Yeah.
Who I only know from Hook.
And he's in, you've never seen, but Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh, and what about Bob?
Oh.
Yeah.
Can't Hardly Wait. That was the last movie he did before these, like, he stopped in Can't Hardly Wait, 1998. And then what, I think I was like 2021 is his next acting credit. He's like a fucking an assistant teacher or a teacher of law at his college right now. I was like, what? Went from child actor to lawyer. All right. But Can't Hardly Wait. He plays this nerd teenager at the party who is trying to get back at all the like jocks and bullies and ends up actually partying with them. It's really funny.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Looking at his wiki or his
Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh yeah.
I was just looking at it.
Oh dude, great cast.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I think you would like for that style of like teen party movies coming of age, like late 80s with that. This is an iconic one, and I think you would get a kick out of it.
Yeah, you've brought it up before.
Yeah. a lot of tropes that were like redone or introduced through this movie.
It's amazing. Just
like every single time Jennifer Love Hewitt enters a room, it's a slow motion.
Yeah, I was like, it's kind of crazy how like just like on fire she was for how long she was. It was just like a flash when you in the greater scheme of everything. But
I would watch anything that she was in.
It's just kind of crazy. God, she was the it girl.
Yes, she was.
Okay, moving on. Creepy. Honorable mentions. Some people that were in this.
Dustin Hoffman
pointed. I was trying to do ones like people I recognize.
Kathy Bates.
Who's Kathy Bates?
She was only in the first time that they're interviewing Mumbles. She's the
right. That was her.
Yeah.
Who else did I know? What's his name?
Who's the guy that plays Flat Top?
Because
also Flat Top's makeup was really good.
William Forsythe.
Yeah.
Who we talked about.
Yeah, we have.
Why?
I don't remember why. I forgot to look him up as well.
Yeah. Then also, who was Paul Sorvino was Lips.
Mm-hmm.
He was in it. He's a
who
Sopranos
actually
guy.
weirdly looks a lot more like Al Capone than.
I guess so. Yeah. Mandy Patinkin.
88 Fingers. Yeah, the piano. That was actually, dude.
That's actually him singing.
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh no. Okay.
Well, he's like a Tony Award winning.
No,
oh, dude, yeah, he's more Broadway than anything.
That's what I figured because of how he was singing. Because we were just sitting there and I was like, it sounds like him, but I've never heard him sing before.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful tenor voice.
It's crazy.
He is, dude. He's
for how he looks and coming out. You're like, oh, all right, good for you.
Dude, I'll show you some great fucking like Broadway tunes that he's done.
Oh, Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah,
good old Dick Van Dyke, who's very, very hard to miss. I've noticed he really sticks out to me.
He's got a very iconic face.
Yeah, it's like he looks
and
like
he aged great too.
He looks like a Dick Tracy character, but he doesn't really need makeup.
Yeah,
he's got the really big chin,
big nose.
Yeah, big nose, big eye, big bright eyes. You know, it's kind of. Catherine O'Hara's in it.
I missed her. I missed the scene that she was in.
I saw her, but I can't remember what scene it was. It was like a brief little, because that scene was kind of weird. It's one of those movies that it's like, like Zoolander. Zoolander has all these cameos, but they make a point to make sure that you see Paris Hilton, Billy Zane. Billy Zane has lines. Like they really do. And this, it's kind of it's kind of weird because not only
I just saw Billy Zane standing up behind Ben Stiller.
But it's like weird because it's not only are they not really focusing that much on them, a lot of the time they are panning, but then they're panning also. There are people that are in hella makeup.
Yeah, who you really can't really see through the makeup.
No, you mean I think some. You're gonna see who you're gonna see. Like certain people are obviously gonna stand out to you more. But I just thought that was an interesting choice to get all these like names in there, and then a lot of them were just like like Kathy Bates is in there for a couple of seconds. Yeah. It's just kind of interesting choice. But yeah, it's a fun little like trying to find who's who.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah. And then the makeup is fun because it's all the criminals. Everyone evil has like these really crazy facial features that are really pronounced and everything. And then I really do love the fact that like
oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to do a shout out on who did the makeup, because this won Academy Award for Best Makeup.
Everyone's name is their most prominent feature. Lips, flat top, all that kind of. Big Baby even too, but Big Baby's because he's always throwing tantrums. Big Boy, excuse me.
Big Boy, yeah.
He's always throwing tantrums, which is why I kind of thought what it was.
Really quick, the prosthetic makeup designers were John Caglione Jr. and Doug Drexler, who worked under the same teacher of artist Dick Smith. So yeah, they've also done. They've worked with Warren Beatty and Al Pacino and bunch of people in the industry. Oh yeah, James Caan was in this for a hot second.
Oh yeah, he was. He was the other.
He was
gangster.
The gangster that's like, I don't want to do this. I got my own business.
Yeah, another one. I forgot about that. Yeah, you're like, oh look, James Caan.
So yeah, it's for all of that, and we get this movie. Let's get into reviews.
Oh yeah, just how many movies do you see from 1990?
I counted like 17-ish. Wasn't really a lot.
I counted 19.
There was definitely a lot more. That was like I'm sitting there, I'm like maybe I saw that as a kid. I can't remember. I also like box office wise, there was number 9 for 1990.
Yeah, I saw that.
So this was a box office success.
Well, yeah, I mean it was a budget of $46 million and walked away gross at $162.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to talk about Warren Beatty really quick. So Warren Beatty also famously for movies that he's directed and produced going completely over budget, and Disney was really unsure about this.
They gave him a budget of 20.
Yeah, but they also said if he ends up going over budget, it's going to come out of his paycheck.
Yeah.
His acting, all of them. Acting paycheck, producing paycheck, and directing paycheck. So it's like whatever extra money you want to spend is your money, not ours.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good idea.
Right?
Like, do you really want to make it? Then make it. But... All right.
And it's for being such a passion project, I'm pretty sure he was like, let's do I just really want to do it. I want it so bad. I want to be a Super Saiyan. I want to. Sorry. Reviews?
I thought you can do our scores.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. So on IMDb, it's got a 6.2. Rotten Tomatoes at a 61 tomato meter and a 53% audience score. So very mid. And I think the big carrier on that mid is the makeup design and costume design and art design, honestly.
On Metacritic, this has a 68, which comes to generally favorable, with 16 positive reviews and 8 mixed and 0 negative, which I was kind of blown away by.
I can actually see why there's no negative,
Yeah. Number 1, at the top of the list, 100 out of 100, our guy Roger Ebert.
It's 1990. He's writing this in 1990.
Warren Beatty's production of Dick Tracy approaches...
Also, he probably had a big crush on Warren Beatty.
Are you done?
No, I'm going to interrupt you 2 more times.
Warren Beatty's production of
right
Dick
here.
Tracy... You want to see a magic trick? Warren Beatty's production of Dick Tracy approaches the material with the same fetishistic glee I felt when I was reading the strip, which that made sense. He also grew up with it.
He's got the nostalgia.
Yeah.
You see, and what's interesting about this is that, of course, nostalgia's always existed, but this like whole like nostalgia grab or like desire for nostalgia has evolved a lot over the last 40 years since 1990, and now it's a really big, like, it's like its own industry. It's not industry. Well, kind of, you know what I mean? It's like everybody wants to live in nostalgia. We want to remember the 90s, man. I want to go back to the 90s.
Well, I don't think that. But I mean, I think you want to remember youth.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
That's what you're playing with people's mortality.
I will forever be 25 in my mind.
I forget how old I am, honestly.
Dude, the fact that I'm like encroaching on 40, just I do feel it sometimes, a lot, but I don't think it. I don't mentally feel it. That's why you lose your pens.
That's why I have 3 more on this side.
Jesus fucking Christ, saw that?
I'll get that one later. I like to make notes.
No, it's good.
I did 2 positive, 2 mixed. Then a little bit lower at 88 by Mike Clark at USA Today. And I thought this was just an interesting comparison, and I didn't think about it until this. Okay. Even though Batman's Tim Burton is a better filmmaker than Beatty will ever be, Dick Tracy is the movie of all screen attempts that most convinces me I'm watching a live-action live-action cartoon.
I really like that, actually. That's really...
And I thought it was interesting
it's really on point.
Because Batman came out
88.
Mm-hmm. And
Danny Elfman does the score for both.
Danny Elfman did the score for both, which you can totally hear. I wish I hadn't known that watching it. Had not known that Danny Elfman did the music.
Okay.
Because it's like, oh, clearly it's Danny Elfman.
I do before even doing any like research, the opening notes, I was like, this is Danny Elfman. And then I was like, and I saw music by Danny Elfman. I'm like, yes.
But it's like to look at the two of them and how close they are in age and when they came out. It is the almost they're polar opposite of what Batman was. Batman dark and gritty, and this had this grittiness to it. But even the villains were bright, but
it was
colorful and popping, and it was very interesting. a comparison I didn't think of, but these are two, and even the core element of the detective stopping crime.
Yeah.
And you have one in a bat suit and one in a big yellow jacket and a fedora, a very iconic look, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of a cool.
I really like that because Dick Tracy, this movie, it feels like a cartoon brought to live action.
Yeah.
With how because I don't know if you remember any like old the like Looney Tunes cartoons, but there was like even like them making fun of like these villains, you know, where it's like Hammerhead, and it would cut to like Hammerhead, and like just like it's like drawing, but like, and it would be actually a guy with a hammer as a head, but like
not particularly. But
okay, the way that they're like presented in this movie with their prosthetics is. It looks like it's taken right off the fucking like the panel, the page, the cartoon and whatnot. It's so good. It is absolutely fantastic, and that's why I think it's the prosthetic makeup and the costume. The costume's as simple as just working with very vibrant, same shade color, not really like moving away from it. Really,
yeah,
bold, but very good. It makes everything stand out in a very different way. And I think that's what really saves this movie in being as a whole as a movie artistically good. Even though the pacing of the movie isn't very good and not all of the acting is super great and the story is kind of shallow, this art carries this movie so well. My rant's done.
Okay. 60.
That was me agreeing with the guy. That came off the review.
The good guy review.
Cartoon movie.
60 out of 100 at Empire by Ian Freer. It's fun spotting stars under cakes of makeup and the panache. Great supporting cast and good-natured, old-fashioned feel make for a better movie than you remember. That's just kind of like, I felt like it was like, yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually very true, too, because, wait, say a better movie than you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I would think reverse. Because I remembered a better movie than what it actually is.
And the very bottom is 40 out of 100 at Rolling Stone by Peter Travers. After all the hype, the movie of Dick Tracy turns out to be a great, beautiful bore.
What I said.
And that's basically how I felt about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I'm always a sucker for villains too. Like, I think it looked like Al Pacino
was having a blast,
having a fucking ball. Like, there's that scene where they find out they're being bugged by his little, and the coffee's coming down, and he's, you know, and just the facial expressions he's making, and he's all hunched over, and he's got all the, you know, like he was very fun, but at the same time, everyone was very one note.
Yes.
Which is fine for the world that we're in.
The container of this, yeah.
Because even then, a detail that I caught that I thought was really fun and interesting was the signs of everything. In the sense of the actual physical, the diner sign and the radio. It was diner.
Yep.
There was one diner that didn't have a name. It was diner. There was hotel, grand hotel.
Yeah.
And then hotel, and then radio. Just radio. And it was just this really like live in a snow globe world, you know, this tiny little bubble. And just with little details like that, that was a really fun way of like.
I think that's a very common thing for pulp comics as well.
Okay.
I think. I'm just.
Yeah, but it was like that made it this very. That made the shallow depth of everything make.
Yeah,
because that's all.
Because that's what the world is.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yeah, we don't need Dick Tracy to be this like, you know, complex detective.
Yeah,
we don't. We just need to know that Dick Tracy is he's a better than all the other detectives. Which I find that scene when he gets trapped in the room that Tess was in, and he's like doing the calculations. And it's like, yeah, man, jump down here to launch me out, so then you can just fucking be stuck in here.
Yeah.
Besides me, because I'm Dick Tracy and I need to be the fucking hero.
Yeah, he is the center of his universe. Yeah. Because even then too, it's like he has these two other detectives that are kind of like his lackeys almost, and they keep coming in to Like he keeps ordering him around. It's like, yeah, okay, he's the head detective, but even there's the whole thing about him becoming chief, and he's like, no, we have a good chief. We have a fine chief as it is.
Yeah.
So it's like he's already it's acknowledged that he's not the boss, but he bosses everyone around.
Yeah.
Like
Because he's
the
fucking
boss,
Dick Tracy.
Because he's the fucking Dick Tracy.
He's like, oh, why would I want to take a demotion?
Yeah, he's the fucking king of the world, you know? Like, and it's just like this wild little like universe that we live in while you're watching it, and that's why I really liked that. Something about that, because also the fact that the backdrops and everything are these like painted these cartoon images, and then you just
Like
see
right out of the fucking panel.
right out of the panel.
Yeah.
And then it's you see the neon lights of diner flashing, and I just really liked that little detail of just making it this really set in world. That's the set pieces I liked, and I liked how like old it looked now.
See, that's what I was saying. Is like when the movie, as soon as it was like going through that, I made it. It was like Tommy's gonna really like this. Like I put art, but like the world, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the world was cool, and because it was cool too because it looked, and it was kind of I don't know if it was by accident or not, but it looks like a sound studio because that's what it is.
Yeah,
but it looks like having been to like them before, it looks like the New York street at Universal Studios. And that's a really cool look for this world, because it's not like they're trying to put a guise over you that this world exists somewhere out there beyond the wardrobe, kind of thing. It's like, no, we're bringing it to you.
We're taking a panel and we're putting it into
in front
moving
of you.
screen.
Yeah, exactly.
And they also did the majority of the filming of this with stoic shots. Like there's not a lot of camera movement in the entire movie because they wanted it to feel like it was coming out of the comic book panels.
Well, yeah, and it's just like that was, and I like that. It's like we are taking this thing and bring it for you to view. We're not trying to take you into this world and make you live in it, you know?
Yeah.
Which, we've seen kind of failed, like Warriors of Virtue.
Yeah.
They tried to pull you into this world, and you're like,
I don't know this fucking world.
You're fighting and kicking the entire time. Like, nah! I will not listen to the creepy kangaroo.
No thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, so I think...
And also, this has one of the longest, most boring gunfight scenes of the entire fucking world I've ever seen in my entire life.
Are you talking about the last one? Which
Holy
one?
shit.
All right, with the Tommy guns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, this is still happening, but nothing's happening.
Okay, that's part of the pacing and the editing. The editing is the problem of this movie, and the structure of how it's all come out. Because I feel like the beginning of this movie is really good in establishing the world we're in, the character of Dick Tracy, the character of Big Boy, and it's like up to that like meeting. Now, even like before that meeting, it's starting to fall apart. But that meeting of him and all the other like mob bosses, and it's like we're gonna create our own big mob company. Like the Dark Knight.
And he's basically just talking about extortion, is what he's talking about.
Exactly, yeah. Which is what Al Capone was.
Yeah.
And well, it's also like, as opposed to like all of these mob bosses having their own separate territories, like if we all come together and create a corporation, and then we steal people's money.
Yeah.
Corporation capitalism. Sorry. Then, yeah, it's really following from that moment. Everything really derails, and that's where I kind of started losing my interest.
Well, I have a point on what you're saying about the intro too.
Yeah,
I agree with you in the sense that you're right. The pacing in the beginning really builds this world that we're now, like we were just talking about, like viewing, and you're like, okay, great, cool. I'm in for it. Where he's a good guy and he's gonna save the day. Let's go.
I know what kind of movie I'm watching.
Haha. You're like, okay, got it. But then it really quickly, because of the pacing and everything, the sense of urgency and conflict become very muddled and very uninteresting for some reason, because it's like, okay, we know the bad guy. Because even then, by the time they have that conversation, there's been already a lull kind of on, we know Dick Tracy wants to get the bad guy, but we don't really know bad guy's plan except that he's bad. And then they say his plan, but at this point, there's been this kind of beep.
Well, what ends up happening is they do this weird thing in editing, which generally, when you do something like this, you're doing it as a juxtaposition to kind of show a parallel of how maybe two characters' journeys are going the same way or going opposite of each other is it's cutting between what Big Boy is doing with Lips and Dick Tracy finding the kid. So you have a scene of like the kid eating ice cream or something and whatnot, and then it cuts to Big Boy and he's putting the cement on the guy and whatnot, and then it cuts back to Dick Tracy and Lena and the kid and their little bit, and then
they're doing their little happy family thing,
and then it cuts back to Big Boy and whatnot, and these are scenes that should not be chopped up. They should be beginning point A to point B,
because you're going bit
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And it's throwing the pacing off, and it's making it feel like the movie's going at a quicker pace, but it's actually slowing the movie down.
Well, and then it's disconnecting the audience from the plot.
Yes, because then you don't know which plot you're supposed to be following properly, and yeah, it's just it's jarring, and it does it multiple times through this entire movie. And that gunfight is this perfect point of it. Is you have this very high energy, like lounge song that's happening with Madonna, with this great song that's parallel a little bit with what they're talking about, what's happening, but you're not hearing this song. They're not cutting it together like a music video of like they're blah, 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 and like you hear Madonna singing and like they're like cutting it together. They're not putting the scenes together.
Yeah.
They're keeping it separate. So you're like, she's singing, and then silence outside. What's going on? Nerd. Oh, wait, they're ready to go in there now. Get out the guns. Cut back to Madonna singing and whatnot. Boom. Boom. Cut back to Madonna singing again. It's like, you're not blending the world together.
Which is an interesting thing you said, the music video thing, because a lot of the people that we've talked about in the past that were directors that have done music videos are really good at doing that.
Yes.
Like Baby Driver. And, it's like, it's kind of an interesting, like a music video director has a very particular set of skills. And that is definitely something kind of interesting, because when you look at Warren's backlog,
he's only done like drama films.
Yeah, and that's not only
maybe some comedy stuff.
I'm not saying he had to do music videos to do that, but also that's a very action movie thing. So I think
we need to pick up the pace here, bud.
Yeah, someone that knows to keep it.
It's
rolling.
like it's almost like he thought like, we'll keep the pace up by having the story bounce back and forth like that and whatnot. And it was just a bad choice.
Yeah. It was kind of like a two birds, one stone kind of thing. It's like we can tell both storylines at the same time, and it'll help with timing. And
it's in a way they kind of it's like. It like how like comics can kind of bounce back and forth in a way like that, but it's also you got to be really careful with it.
Well, but with comics though, when you do something like that, like from panel to panel, you have, and it might be because of the fact that they are still images, you have certain little tricks you can do with like a panel. You can change, and you can make it really subtle too. You can change the text bubble into being a slightly different color to really help move along who is speaking. You can, if you have what's his name? The new guy. I can't remember. I'm totally blanking. But part of the Bat family, the Vigil. What's his name? Whatever. New member of the Bat family, and he's more of a daytime kind of thing. There's like a moment when him and Batman are talking, and Batman's recollection comes off a little darker, and just the tone of the art, and then his comes off a little, like you can do stuff like that, and then so it's a little bit easier to make it. You can tell these multiple stories at one time, and it's these little subtle changes that can kind of push you along. But then when you're talking about the moving pictures, there's a lot, and it's definitely kind of not only visually and
it definitely feels like what they were trying to do is like really say like, these things are happening at the exact same time. So
one's inside, one's outside.
Boom, boom, boom. And it like as a movie watcher, we know we can have like one scene happen and then the next scene happen. And we don't, it's like, even though I forget, there's a term for it. It's like movie time logic or something. Even though what we are seeing is like, we watched this one happen first and then we're watching the next one happen, we don't necessarily need to know that they happen at the same time. We don't really necessarily assume that they happen at the same time, but we just kind of know that they kind of happened at the same time.
Is it almost like a logic of, is it entirely necessary for the audience to know they're happening at the same time or not?
Yeah.
It's like, it can just happen and then it will happen. Like, it doesn't need, it's not like the ticking time bomb to zero where that matters. You know, we say 10 seconds and then it runs for 3 minutes. That's a problem. But these two events, it doesn't really matter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really matter when they're happening as long as they're happening.
Yes. Yeah.
Around each other.
It's like, we know that, like, if I was to recut this movie and put that all together, then it was like, well, we know that Big Boy killed Lips and
pretty brutal,
and then put that guy into cement all in the same night.
And he puts a lot of people in cement.
Yeah, that entire warehouse is filled with
people. Which I was like, that's a cool detail. Then they didn't really focus on. They just like, you catch it. You catch it.
Yeah, he's a fucking murderer.
Yeah, he's a psycho.
He's a serial killer.
Yeah, that likes to kill people with cement. Puts them in wet cement and lets it dry. He doesn't like hit them with, it's pretty brutal. Like,
swim with the fishies.
Yeah, and like, that was so good too. He's like, you're stinking. You need to take a bath.
Yeah.
No, not the bath. And you're like, ooh, what's he gonna do to him? And
put him in cement. Yeah.
Put him in cement.
So we get that. We would have known. It's like, oh, on this night, Big Boy, does that, and we will also know on this night, Dick Tracy finds the kid. We don't need to know that they're happening at the same time. We know that happened the same night.
Al Pacino also gave me a lot of what's his name?
Russell Crowe?
DeVito vibes.
Oh, okay.
From the second Batman.
Okay, yeah.
That real like
Dude, the entire scene where he's like kind of berating Madonna as she's or Mahoney.
Breathless Mahoney.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, great name.
She's like doing her like their like rehearsal, and he's like, no, you gotta put yourself in, and he's like, no, and you can see like the weird hunch that he gave himself.
He reminded me of something.
A crazy man.
It reminded me, like, as you were doing it too, I was like, actually, yeah, there's something really.
Robin Williams in the Birdcage.
No, same thing, kind of gross and.
So apparently, really quick as well, the Big Boy design that Al Pacino has in this movie is not the design that Gould did that for Big Boy. Like, Big Boy is actually more overweight and whatnot, and Al Pacino took a little liberty with it. But I just also the the radio watch that Dick Tracy has.
Yeah.
Apparently, the person that created the cell phone said that was the inspiration for it.
Yeah. From.
Are you looking at Big Boy?
Old Big Boy, yeah. It's, I don't know. The Al Pacino look is very much more iconic.
Fair.
Like with the big butt chin.
The weird lips.
And whatever, yeah, what they did with his lips was really interesting. Mm-hmm. It's like that kind of thing. He's just not a very nice guy.
No.
He's not very nice at all.
Do you have anything more?
What are we at?
We're almost at an hour.
Okay, let's go and wrap it up. Not really. I mean,
it was. I'm glad to watch it for the review.
Yeah, it was interesting, especially because of like we kind of are accidentally picking off these very, from these very visually these things with almost the visual striking, but also what kind of sold them.
What is it? Like, comes out not striking, but popping.
Yeah, because even then, it's like you can Sin City you can put in here, but also Sin City was already a very well established comic book, graphic novel, whatever, where the story was really sought after, and they followed that pretty fucking closely for the movie. Yeah. But then it's something like like this kind of to me is like
story wise. Sorry, finish your thought really quick, because I think I know where you're going.
I was just like, well, like Sky Captain World of Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. This is kind of on par with that, because even that is that the adventure stopping the evil robots. It's very much a like
Dick Tracy versus the Big Boy. Yeah,
yeah, so it's kind of like it's no better or worse than that, and it kind of goes. My biggest thing is just the pacing and none of the acting really stood out to me, and I'm kind of going back and forth with that only because of the fact that like that's kind of, like I said earlier, that's kind of the point is these,
Yeah.
Dick Tracy's the cop and he does cop things and cop things only. You can't bribe him. He loves his girlfriend, like that kind of shit.
But does he? Because they don't live together and she likes to live alone, or does she?
Yeah, and then there's Kid, and he's the kid and he does kid thing.
But he's also an honorary detective because the kid's got...
And he's got moxie.
He's got grit. Yeah, he's got moxie. Yeah.
And all he wants to do is eat. And then Big Boy Caprice. He's bad to the bone.
He likes his money.
He likes his money and to kill people and slap
giving
women.
them the bath.
And like that whole scene was like slapping their butts and stuff. You're
yeah.
like, it's just like it is. And that's maybe that's what it was. It was that scene. That's the Danny DeVito penguin thing. Mm-hmm. He's just going around. And,
I'm gonna get you.
yeah, I'm gonna get you. It's so weird. But yeah, and so it's like these characters are all very just one dimensional. That's kind of how they're supposed to be. But they just that. I just didn't find it interesting.
Like, also, we didn't even really talk about like the story that unfolds in this movie because
let's do that real quick.
It kind of like it feels like
it's weird.
2 or 3 different stories really happening.
Well, because it does the Jessica Rabbit thing where she's like, you're not sure if she's like into Tracy.
Or trying to use him.
Or a little bit of both.
Which is very much, she's that classic femme fatale.
Yeah, it's a very femme fatale thing. It goes back and forth. And like even towards the end of the movie, they keep showing her and they keep having these conversations. And it's just kind of like, what are you doing here? It's like there's an edit where you're not in this. And so far, it really doesn't make that big of a difference to the plot. Until the very end, and our faceless man...
turns out to be Breathless Mahoney.
It ends up to be... Farmer Jenkins, like...
I would have gotten away to 2 if it wasn't for you, Dick Tracy.
For you and your Dick Tracy. But yeah, so they pull up the mask and it's her and you're kind of like, okay.
Well, it's like...
I don't really understand what her end goal was.
I think this is the thing.
What was her end goal?
She wanted to get... oh, God, no. She wanted...
Dick's dick.
Yes, but she also wanted him to kill Big Boy because Big Boy was he was obsessed with Big Boy.
Yeah.
If he can get rid of Big Boy,
the blank, that's what his name.
If he can get rid of Big Boy, then maybe her and him can have a life together. Because either that or maybe she's just trying to get him to kill Big Boy, so then Dick is out of the way, so then she can like have her own life.
Yeah, she's tired of being under the thumb of these disgusting men. These men, yeah. Yeah.
But there's also, so if we're like, if we're going into the sense of like, this is like hero versus bad guy, Batman versus the Joker, it's Dick Tracy versus Big Boy Caprice. And that is kind of like the narrative through this, because as Big Boy is starting his like mob fucking empire, Dick Tracy is taking down each of his of the top guys one by one.
Oh yeah, his generals.
Yeah. And so then Big Boy's money is not coming in. He's not making money anymore. So then Big Boy has to frame Dick for killing
Dick
Van Dyke. I forget who the character was.
He was the DA. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
No, he was. I know it's DA.
Yeah.
Something.
So he frames Dick Tracy, but then the cops are just like, need Fletcher. Dick Tracy back on the streets because they can't figure it out.
Because he's fucking Dick Tracy.
Oh, and also his girlfriend Tess was kidnapped and they can't figure her out. And he's like, well, if I'm back on the streets, I could find her.
Well, it's because it's like those 2 detectives are... That's the thing. It's like this movie, you're like, boo, boo, boo. And at the very end... They're like, quick, we gotta finish the movie.
Yeah, because like as soon as Dick Tracy's arrested, set up for the murder, then Big Boy's money starts coming back in again.
Because Dick Tracy's a fucking superhuman. That's what I love too. I did love that, and there's a couple of other movies that are coming up in this block I can think of. But just that superhero, not superhero punch in these kind of movies.
Oh yeah,
where it's like it's not the greatest punch, but. What? And the guy goes like flying 4 feet.
Oh, wait, what's that?
Ah! They're trying to do a Wilhelm.
Yeah.
You should just have that queued up.
I'm not good with that.
But yeah, I just love that. It's like this wild, like, Hail Mary punch, and he just, woo. I think that's great. And there's a couple other movies I can think of that, like, that. And you're like, makes sense in Blade because he's half vampire. Doesn't make sense for you, Dick, because apparently you're just a detective. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're the detective. Motherfucking Dick Tracy.
That yellow fucking trench coat.
That's what it is. That's the superpower.
Just the Dick Tracy.
The Dick Tracy. But it's one of those movies that by the end it feels like they're really like, and again that could have just been editing. Who knows? This movie could have been way longer, and they were like, well, we gotta.
I mean, the editing was the problem, so
maybe it was like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. And they're like, shit, this is all we have time for. Here you go.
Yeah. I mean, but also it's like it still has like a beginning, middle, and end. It's like
it comes to a resolution. It just I guess my thing is it just takes.
And it also comes to a resolution of they're gonna be a happy family type thing.
Yeah, by adopting kid or Dick Tracy Jr.
Yeah, or it's like also Tess. He's like, struggling to just be like, move in with me. I love you. Because a man can't face his feelings and say what he needs.
Yeah.
But he'll get called to the job first.
Yeah, you're like, perfect. You're going to pay for dinner, right?
Is that the bat signal? Ha! It's daylight. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just like by the time we got to the actual kind of the real conflict, because the conflict is Big Boy, but then getting to the actual plan that is happening.
I just need you to testify.
I didn't care anymore by that point. And then, then just came to like a screeching, all right, and the movie's done. And you're like, okay, thank you. I give it like a 2.
I give it like a 2.5. Because I like the art really, as a whole, the art really does help this movie.
Well, what do we give Bogus?
I think a 2.
Yeah, okay, so we can do a 2.5.
Yeah.
Then.
Which is unfortunate. I would love to see this property like now.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say what they probably could do with this. That's not right. There you go. What you could probably do with this is like the Tick kind of thing.
Amazon Prime pick it up.
Do a show, episodic. Just kind of do what it was. Through byline of Big Boy being the main villain, but then serial between. There's
so much. Like,
I think live action would be the way to do it too. Don't do animated.
Yeah, there's so much content because it's from 31 to now.
But yeah, the show would then respect the whole topical thing, make it topical.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I like the container of a movie though, because you can just do one small story and call it good.
But I think there's so much and so many characters that you could do that I think do miniseries. Do one season.
Like maybe 4 episodes a season. Like not super long.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
And just see how it goes. Like do one storyline, close it off.
Yeah.
But leave it still, like obviously. Don't kill.
Each season is a new chapter. It doesn't have to connect together. So if we don't get season 3, we're not like the cliffhanger.
No, yeah.
Of Dick Tracy.
And make it the through line that there is the big bad guy. Let's just say Big Boy is the big bad guy of this group, but each one's a different case of him dealing with something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Took a second. The cliffhanger. All
right.
So yeah, 2.5. Yeah. What are we doing next week?
What are we doing next? I think it might be Rocketeer.
I really hope it is because I really want to watch that. I haven't seen it in 8 million years. I don't even know if it's sat all the way through, and I don't think it's gonna be very good.
Yeah, we're doing Rocketeer next
week.
And I literally have not watched that since I was a kid.
Woo!
Oh, I did. It's really quick. I remember playing the Dick Tracy video game on the regular Nintendo, and it being the most impossible game to figure out.
Is there a Dick Tracy for the Super Nintendo?
It might be the same game.
It might be
because like it's like it's got this like top down view like with you driving your car, and then you get out of your car and it turns into a really bad like back and forth like platformer. And I could never figure out anything that I was supposed to do in the game.
It doesn't look like it. Not for Super Nintendo.
It was just regular Nintendo?
Yeah, it was just regular Nintendo. Huh, that's cool though. It's got
the design looks cool with it.
Yeah, Dick Tracy has a cool look.
It's that's the thing is like it's all aesthetic, no fucking.
That's what it is. It's all aesthetic, no flavor.
Yeah.
Like really.
Like this looks really cool. It tastes like plastic.
It's all it really is. It's all packaging. The packaging is cool. Even the movie poster, just real black, yellow, red, just but it's like there's nothing behind it.
Apparently, the original person that was like slated to write this, like wrote James Bond movies and shit too.
See, that's what I'm saying. There's potential. So I think if they were to bring this back and do a show on it, that'd be kind of cool or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook where you'll see all of our promos of what's coming up. On that promo is a link tree where you can find all of our episodes and where they are, whether that be Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, so on and so forth. Like, subscribe, follow, comment. That helps us out. We are a self-produced podcast. So we make and do everything here on our free time. Thank you for listening. Please,
Big fly.
This was episode 192. Dick Tracy. Please follow us for 193 for The Rocketeer and a continuation of our pulp comic block.
Although I don't think Rocketeer is comic. I think it was just TV. I don't know. We'll see. I can't remember.
Like that's for tomorrow. I mean, next week.
It's for tomorrow.
That's for later.
That's future Jacob's problem.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Hi, y'all. The jitterbug.